Hello and welcome. This is Alicia from the Chardon Sign Shack. Very, very happy to join you here live at on Saturday night. I can't even remember what night it is. We're having this wonderful event. I'm live just a little bit early because I understand it takes a little while to go live. I hope I'm oriented the right way. When I went live, it told me to flip my phone, so I did. So if I'm not, hi Sharon, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Brown Eyed Girls Crafting. I can't remember your name. I did watch part of your project, but then I had to go feed my dad and eat dinner too before I started. So I'll go back and watch that when I'm done or when everybody's done. Anyhow, welcome. And I wanted to let you know the hosts of this event are Lori. This is called the You Melt My Heart crafting event, and I'm nervous if you can't tell. This is only my second YouTube live, so I could be doing a lot of things wrong. I don't know. Hi, Adrian, or hi, Amy. How are you? So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Lisa. Okay, Lisa. I'm gonna write that down. I hope to remember. I'm Alicia. So hopefully that'll be easy to remember. But anyhow, the hosts are Lori from the Farmhouse Stencil Shop and Leah of Make All the Things with Me. And I wrote it down. Hi, Leah, how are you? To make sure that I could remember to say it right. I mean, I know them, but I didn't want to mispronounce it or anything. But Leah and Lori are the hosts of this event. I thank them so much for allowing me and everyone to join this. It's been a wonderful event. I've gotten to watch almost all the girls. I'm going to angle this down. I hope to be able to see comments at the same time. Like I said, I'm new. I know on YouTube they like to see the face and the craft, but I'm not really set up for that. So I'm going to angle you down for my craft and get started because I don't know whether I'm going to have time. And if you haven't, at the end of this playlist, I put it in my descriptions. If I did it correctly, I did the description in the link, or the link in the description. So you should go right to the next one. Hi, Lori. How are you? Well, this is easier. I only have to have 2 devices for this, at least so far. So far, it's been easy. I'll let you know at the end. So I have this cute little 8x8 glass block that I am going to be painting. I did do a couple things ahead of time. I got it at Menards because, or not Menards, I got it at Lowe's. Last week, I was at Home Depot, Menards, and Lowe's. So I've been all over the place to all the sites. And I did pre-paint my snowman that I used a stencil on ahead of time because I wanted to allow it to dry enough. So I'm going to show you, I use this stencil right here. And what I did was I put it on here and I did tape it up here, and I took my stencil brush, and I am going to use a paintbrush as well on this, but I wanted this base coat. I found in doing this yesterday that it works a lot better if you let it dry. So I got my standard like white paint. So I use Deco Arts. I know there's like glass paint and there's stained glass paint. I just used Deco Arts Warm White. I didn't use anything special. I didn't use any special medium or anything like that. I used what I had on hand. So I got the paint on my stencil brush and I offloaded it. And I didn't swirl it this time. I usually swirl when I stencil. That's what I like to do, is the stenciling. And what I did was I kind of just dabbed it in there. I stippled it. And now I'm going to paint it. But I did want to show you how I did that. And then I did up here. And I just did everything in white. That and the little overlays they have on this, I did in white. So it would give it a really good time to dry, because I did find out that my paint came off if I did it too soon. Even with the heat gun, it came off. So it was better to allow it it was better to allow it to dry for a while. So I have let this dry for a couple of hours. And I'm going to start with some warm white here. And I just have an angle brush. And I'm going to dip it in my white paint. And I'm just going to paint over this snowman. And the angle brush makes it nice and easy. If a little bit of paint does pull up from underneath, just kind of dab back over it. Like I said, there are glass paints. I don't know if there's a medium. This is the first, well, this is only the second time I've ever painted on glass block. So I'm just going over the whole thing with this coat of white, and I did base coat it in white and allow it to dry. So how were those other crafts? If you've been able to watch everybody, there were so many neat things. One thing I really want to learn is felting. I can't remember the name. Willow something that did a little doll, like a little snowman doll. And so I'm just laying this in here and I'm following the lines of what I already stenciled. This is where the scarf's at, where the overlay for the scarf is, but I'm just doing the snowman body right now, and I'm doing it real gentle. I'm not... And like I said, the reason I did that ahead of time was I was not sure if it would pull up, because it did pull up on me before. So we're going to do this. We're going to put some lights on the back, some ribbon around it. It's a really cute little project. Looks really pretty when it's done. I was really excited. Yes, I'm painting on a glass block Yoli. I don't know if that's right. But yes, it's a glass block. If you can see, it's an 8x8 glass block. And I have little command strips with hooks on the back to hook my lights. So I'll show you all that. And I put those on ahead of time because that took a long time to do. And you're supposed to wait. I'm one of those people that follows the directions. So you're supposed to wait 30 minutes. 30 seconds each time you press down a command strip, and then you can put the thing on it, the little hook on it. So, you know, that adds up when you're doing a 45-minute live and you're not sure whether you're going to have time for the whole live. But I thought this would be kind of cute, kind of different. And I've been wanting to try it, and I thought this would be the perfect place to try it. And again, I'm just getting that white in there with my angle brush. And I need a little bit more there because it did pull up a little bit, and you just kind of dab back in if it pulls up a little bit. And I do want to do a little bit of shading around the edges of the snowman. So I've got some blue here. It's Deco Art, or yeah, it's Deco Art's Open Water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab just a little bit of that in the toe of my brush and a little bit of white. So the blue's up here, but it's mixed in with the white a little. And I'm going to, you know what, I might, where's my palette paper? If you have palette paper, that's a wonderful tool to kind of blend your paint into. It blends it so there's not such a harsh line. And I'm going to go around the edges of the snowman. Oop, now look at that. See, I just pulled a whole bunch of paint up there. I have to remember I'm not stenciling on wood. I'll go back and fix that, but I'm going to get this shading first. So I'm just adding a little bit of blue. I should have dried that. I'm used to stenciling where it dries so quickly. So I'm just adding a little bit of blue mixed with the white. Well, just so you know, folks, we mess up too, a lot. Oh, I did pop on for a little bit, and I saw that you had it set to the kid thing. It's very confusing going live on YouTube. So I am going to dry this, and I'm going to rinse my brush out. And I will go back and finish that after the live. Let me dry this before I plop some more paint on it, which I should have done ahead of time. And this does not come off after it dries real good, unless you scrape it like with your fingernail. It's just that was wet. So I'm gonna put a little bit of paint in there and dry it, and then add a little bit more. But that's what happens, it pulls off the glass. I put my hand in that. So let's see how we're doing on time. I'm so worried about the time. Usually when I do lives on Facebook, I just go on for however long. So 45 minutes, you don't have a lot of time. It seems like it'd be a lot of time. So I'm just kind of placing some more paint down in there. And I'm gonna dry that pretty good before we go on. Just because, and it's okay if it's a little splotchy. So like this is a little splotchy, but it looks like natural shading, except for that piece right there where I put my hand in it. And when the lights come through, it'll come through a little bit. It'll definitely come through the clear black gloss. Let me just add just one more little dab there, and then we'll move on. Okay. Let me dry that. I'm gonna rinse my brush out real quick, give it a dry. So how is the weather out there where everybody's at? We had 18 inches of snow the other day, on Wednesday, I think it was. It was the most snow we had in one sitting in a long time. My husband was not thrilled. It was up past his knees. Okay, so I am going to grab the overlay now. And I'm gonna do the first overlay, and I'm gonna do the hat and the little palm here. The hat I wanna do in this dragon fruit, which is a real pretty bright pink. This event, you were supposed to do snowmen with hearts. So, and I'm gonna pick up some paint here, and I'm not going to offload as much as I would. And I'm just holding, you can tape this down. Like if you're stenciling on something, you should tape it down. So I better tape it down, because if I don't, it'll shift on me. Usually I just fly with it. But let's get that little guy, the little overlay, lined up. And I apologize, I usually do stenciling facing towards people. Well, let me try and turn it around here. Don't want to get my hooks torn off. And I'm going to start pouncing this paint in here because I don't want to swirl too much, because it will pull the bottom paint off. So you're going to do a lot of pouncing. Now this one, if it's dry enough, we might be able to swirl on it. See, I had the advantage, the first one I did, I could let it dry a lot in between coats. So the longer you can let it dry, the better it is. You just have to kind of be gentle with it. And if you've ever stenciled, you just get paint on your stencil brush and you offload it. And like I said, I don't usually pounce, but this is kind of a situation where you want to pounce. And I want to do this hat up here. I'm just going to do a little bit of this. And I'm going to do a little bit with the white, and I'm going to do a little bit of the bubblegum pink I'm going to put in there. I might even use, I have an old brush here that's pretty frayed. It's got the, you know, it's not, getting the camera, it's not a very good brush. I wouldn't use it for detail or anything. And I'm going to add some pink to that too. Later, I'm going to let that dry. And the scarf here, oh, that was supposed to be, no, the hat's pink. I want this pink too. I couldn't remember what colors I chose. I want the scarf to be pink too. And I do have a little bit of white there from before where I laid that out and let it dry for quite a while. Do any of you stencil? I know Lori does. I know Leah does. I don't know if any of the rest of you do, but I would love to know. See, that's gonna need a couple coats there. So let's get his face on, his eyes, with some black. I'm just using lamp black here, which apparently I did not open before the live. I meant to. We hung a medicine cabinet today. We watched our grandson, our 6-year-old grandson, who you have to almost tag team when he's here because he's up to no good. Never. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so I'm getting a little bit of black paint here. I'm the ambassador for the Stencil Smith, and then I know Lori, who is the host, one of the hosts. She has a Stencil Smith, or not a Stencil Smith, a stencil company as well, which is Farmhouse Stencils. Okay, so typically when you're stenciling, you're going to do a little dry in between. And you can dry over your stencils. You just want to move it around a little bit. So you can tell, I don't know if anybody else was nervous, but I am getting nervous because I am getting very hot. So now I'm going to pounce another coat on here of this real pretty pink, which is dragon fruit. I think this might be the first time I've used this. I was trying to debate between this or joyful pink. I like joyful pink a lot too. That's really pretty. So this is normally, like I said, not how I would stencil. I would normally lightly swirl and I would offload more. But this is a different situation. This is glass. And like I said, the one I made yesterday, it stays on there. It stays on there. You could put Mod Podge on this, but it does dull the look of the glass. It's not super clear like underneath, and it would grip better because I experimented with a bunch of stuff. So let's get another coat here on the scarf. Okay. And I'm going to get another coat for the black for the eyes and his little mouth there. And I'm going to pull that up and set that aside for a minute. And I want to put a little bit of blush on the snowman's cheeks before I go any further. And I've got this bubblegum pink on my brush from earlier that I was using. So I'm gonna just kind of, I've offloaded it a lot, and I'm just gonna give it a little blush here. And before we go on, I want to do just a little bit of shading with an angle brush. Let me dry it real quick because I don't think I dried it well enough. We got to put the pink in her or his hat, I'm not sure. Okay, I need to get some bubblegum pink out. So we're going to get a little bit of bubblegum pink out here. And which brush do I want first? I'm going to stipple with this old raggedy brush. I'm going to pick up some of that pink and kind of offload it. And put some pink in there. So it's kind of like it's a little variegated pink, white, a little bit of the dragon fruit. And the good thing about that is you can just take your nail and get it off. So it's got a little bit, looks like one of those multicolored pom-poms. You can always go back and add more. Like I could go back and add a little bit more if I wanted. Let's get this pink on here from the hat, and then we'll do a little bit of shading and we'll move on. I just want to make sure that's good and dry before I smear it all over the place. Okay. And I'm just going to get my pink brush here and get some paint on it. And you should tape it. There's really nowhere to tape it on this unless you tape over your design because it's overhanging the glass block. So I'm just gonna put this bubblegum pink in there and give it a quick little dry. This is what I used for the cheeks, which is a really cute little pink. I hope Tracy is enjoying her Broncos game. My husband was watching it. I told her, I don't know if she saw in the comments, that they caused the Browns a lot of pain, John Elway did, for years and years and years. We're the team that almost always wins something. Cleveland, we're that town. Okay, so I am going to take a little bit, I'm going to wet my angle brush here. Just dip it in a little water. Not sopping wet, but a little wet. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this darker pink and a little bit of the bubble gum. So again, the dark pink is on the toe, and it's going to blend real nicely with that bubblegum pink. And we're just going to do a little shading. Around that. And when you put the color you're using in with the other color you're highlighting on the toe of it, it blends it really nicely. And I'm going to do a little bit of this pink, this bubblegum pink. I'll get that on the toe, and a little bit of the darker color, the dragon fruit, on the back. And this is palette paper. It makes it really nice to spread the paint on. You can always take your finger. On wood, I would take a wet wipe and wipe it away. But on glass, if you would take a wet wipe, you're going to wipe everything away. A wet wipe's like an eraser on wood. And I'm going to take a little bit over here. Just kind of around the edges. Making a little definition there, like where the knot of the scarf would be. And I'm going to do the same thing on the heart. Get a little bit of that pink combo again, and I'm doing all this like before I'm putting the hands on and stuff like that, because they'll go over this. Okay, and I do want to take, I have these real little liner brushes. Where is one? Right here. Let's see how we're doing on time. Let's see, I started at 6:45, 7:30. Okay, I'm doing okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of, I think, the pink and the white. And these are really great for any kind of detail, these little brushes here. And I'm going to draw some lines, like there's ribbing. And I'm kind of drawing around there. Just like that. Where I shaded around there, you know, it kind of looks like that little knot. And I'm just going to add some ribbing there. I'm going to add some tassels. And this is a very, very nice. They're really cheap on Amazon. You can get like 100 of them for, I don't even know, not very much. And I'm going to do the same thing up here on the hat. Kind of going, and I'm sorry I can't do this towards you. I have a hard enough time doing it towards me. But so see how the curves are going and meeting in the middle? They're going with the curve of the outer part of the hat. Okay. And I want to add just a little. Yeah, these are really awesome. They're very stiff. Okay. And I want to add a little white dot in his eyes. In both of his eyes. Just a real little one. I appreciate everybody joining me. I appreciate Leah and Lori doing this. Okay, so we still have to do the hands. Oh, thank you, Lori. It actually looks a lot like your little graphic that you made up, which I thought was really funny. So I want to put, let me give it a quick little dry, although I did, oh, you know what I want to do? I want to add a little bit of fringe down here on my scarf. I'm going to make it a little fringy. So I'm going to add a little bit of pink coming off. And maybe just a little bit of the bubble gum. In there too. So get a little bit of fringe. All those little details, they don't take long, but they add a lot to the overall everything of it. Do I want to do anything else? I'll give it a quick dry now. Then we'll go on to the second overlay. I just want to make sure it's really good and dry there. And then, oh, that's the second overlay. I got to turn it towards me, because when you have overlays on a stencil, it's like a puzzle. Got to figure out where the heck they line up. Yeah, I don't want to put that heart right there. I'll put it on the hat. Okay, so I am going to grab a piece of tape off of this, and I'm going to tape it on this glass here so it doesn't shift on me, hopefully. And I'm going to take the white, because anytime you're stenciling, even if it's on wood, you've got the white here and glass here. If it's two different colors, I always try to take a white or a gray and kind of like, and you got the pink here, and kind of like just do a base layer of that, because otherwise the pink and the white, when you put brown over it or whatever color you're putting over it, it will look three different colors. So, and again, I'm just kind of tapping that in there. Really good. And down here where the hands are at. And then I'm also going to tap right there. The tip of the nose goes out too, so I actually think I have to shift that nose down some. I'll do that after I get the arms in. So let me just give this a quick little dry here. I don't think that nose is quite right. Okay, so I'm gonna take, I have 15 minutes. Okay, I think I can. Let me get my brown brush here. And a little bit of brown paint out. And this is Espresso, Deco Arts Espresso. I think these are all Deco Arts paints I'm using today. And I'm just gonna pounce that in for his little stick arms. And you got to kind of hold it down to, if it's overhanging, because it'll pull your design up and you don't want it to bleed under. And typically you'd want a really, really dry brush. Let's see, 33 minutes. I may just have to show you the ribbon. We'll see. We'll see how much time I have left. Ooh, it's coming down to the wire. This is why I did a lot of stuff ahead of time. Okay, so I'm gonna take this up and I am gonna dry his little arms real good, because I have to move his nose just a little bit, because I had the bottom of it up in his eyes. So that's not gonna work. Okay, so there's the nose. I'm gonna shift it downward. And that might have been where his arms were supposed to be, but nobody's gonna know because they don't know. And I'm using a little bit of spiced pumpkin here for his nose, his or her nose. I don't know why snowmen are always snowmen, but they are. So let's get that pounced in there. And like I said, I do recommend pouncing on this, just because it will pull it if you swirl too much. So the person that's going to be up after me is, unfortunately, I don't know the first name, but it's the Country Cowbell. And then I think Leah's after that, and then I think there's one more after that. and that will be the event for the day, I think. And you should be able to go and watch everything through the playlist that's in the description if you haven't watched it. And if you could, make sure to subscribe to all the pages to help them grow, help me grow. That's how we all grow. So we got his little nose on. Let's do a quick little, I'm going to take a little bit of this brown, and I'm just going to do quick little lines on his nose. You know how the carrots have the little lines on them. And I want to take a little bit of black, just a real little bit. And draw like some wobbly lines down there. You know, like it's the grain of the wood. And we could do a little shading on him, his arms if we wanted, but we're not going to have time. Okay. And I want to put just a little bit like snow. I'm just pouncing some white there, like there's maybe some snow on the hat. Just like so. And I want to put a heart up here. So there was a heart that was supposed to be on the scarf, but I am going to move it up here, right in the middle of the hat. And I'm going to put a heart on the hat. Stencils make everything easier than painting it freehand. And so we've got this cute little guy right here, and he's painted, all painted up. And what I did, okay, I'll show you the back. Let me dry him really good here. I brought the other one out, I think, to show you if I didn't get it done, but I'm going to show you what I did. So I've got all these little command strips on the back of it. And I placed four, so there's 16, I think. And then I've got these little fairy lights. So these little fairy lights, I've got two of them. And what I did, they're all tangled now. Oh, okay. And you got to make sure when you put these clips on that the clip goes on the outside, towards the outside. So they're just these little, what did I do with them? They're little, I got them at Home Depot. They're little decorating clips. They came with 48 of them. So they're real little, very, very tiny. It doesn't give a size on them. So I can't give you the size, but I got them at Home Depot. And so what I did was that's the one there. So I started with that one and came down. I started at the top, and then I just wound it like that. And then I was just lucky enough, these ended up down at the bottom. They were like a perfect length. And then I got the other set, because there's two of them. And I took that there and wrapped it around. You just wrap it around because they're very bendy. And it's the same thing going the opposite way. And I just strung them. So they're crisscross applesauce. Remember that one? Okay. And so when you light it up, but I have to show you, if I have a couple minutes, I'll start it. But I don't know if you can see how it's all lit up in the back here. And they stay in these little clippy things, see? And it looks really, really pretty lit up. Looks super pretty. All those little lights in the back. So what I did in these little things, I put a ribbon around this. I did cut, don't know what I did with it, but I did cut a 32-inch piece of burlap. So I have this 32-inch piece of burlap here, and I stenciled hearts on it, and I'll start for a couple minutes. I don't know how far I'm gonna get. I'm gonna set this aside for just a minute, and I hot glued it on. So I just took the ribbon. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. And I had this heart stencil here, and I just kind of centered it on the ribbon with the hearts. And I did not offload on this. So I just kind of dabbed it in there. Because I found out you needed a lot of paint, the fabric and the weave of it, it sucks it up. So I did kind of like every other in this pink. And I'll just do as much as I can, and I'll finish it after the live, but I'll show you what it looks like. The other one, I have 5 more minutes because I went early live, okay. This is the fastest I've probably ever stenciled anything. And it's helpful because I'm not offloading. So I'm just alternating the colors. With the 2 pinks. And I am holding that down. I'm not taping it or anything. I'm going to squirt some more of this bubblegum pink. I don't know how old you guys are, but oops, I got that in some black somewhere. Get over here, guys. And do you remember when Bubble Yum came out? You were so cool if you had a pack of that big Bubble Yum in your pocket. That was always fun. And so if you don't have a ribbon that matches, see, I got a little bit of black right there. I'm going to hide that on the bottom. So you just take your pattern and you go down and you match it up. And just keep going down the ribbon. And you can do this with anything. You know, if you're doing St. Patrick's Day, you could do shamrocks. That kind of thing. And again, I'm just alternating. You remember that? Let's see. So I graduated in 1983. The things I remember that were cool to have were either the Jordache jeans. Jordache jeans were really cool if you had that. Gauchos were cool for a hot minute. They were so ugly. I had a pair. The comb, the big comb in your back pocket. Do you remember that? All that fun stuff. I remember going from like a rotary phone to a push button and thinking, oh my gosh, we're just the bee's knees over here. High tech with this push button phone. And now we have everything on our devices and we can just go live to, I guess, anywhere in the world that allows you to go live. And let's see here. Okay, I have another minute or two. I'm just going to keep going on this real quick as long as I can, and then I'll just show you the other one with the ribbon, and I just simply glued it around the top of it. Oh, I messed that up. That was supposed to be pink. This is supposed to be that color. That's what I get for being in a hurry. Let's change that. I think at this point, I'm just going to show you because I'm going to have to fix that and it'll have to take a minute to dry. So you see what I'm doing with the ribbon though. I'm stenciling the ribbon there and I still have a bit to go. I could have stenciled it before, but I didn't. So I got to fix that one, but you can make a nice pretty ribbon with a stencil and it's going to go around the edge of this, which I did glue it in the middle and I glued it on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to show you the one that I did earlier. I did yesterday. And I'll show you, I still have to cut the tags off of it. You know, these little tabby things. But this is the one I did earlier. So, and I did put a little bit of glitter. I went back with a paintbrush and I put twinkles, Deco Arts twinkles on the, thank you so much, sweetie, I'm sorry. Some of you guys, I don't know your names. But yeah, so that's what I did. I got the lights in the back. It looks really pretty. And then you just glue the ribbon all the way around with your homemade little hearts there. So I want to thank everybody. I think it's 7:30 now for joining us. Thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate it. I just came off of my my hook there. Thank you so much. Make sure to continue the playlist. Join the Country Cowbell next. Thanks, Leah. And my thing came off my ring thing. So join everybody. And thank you so much, Leah and Lori. We appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Gosh. Well, how do you quit? Well, if anybody could tell me how to get out, I can't get it to stop recording. Oh, that's embarrassing. Rotate device back. Okay. Well, oh my gosh.